my drillas, my slimes, welcome. I had to start off with that because I didn't want to say the same shit every time. Welcome back to episode 6 of the Mind and Matt podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Ian McKillop, co-host, Neima Aryan. How are you doing today, man?
Great. Let's get this going, guys.
Let's get this going.
Let's get right to it.
Well, I mean, so we had a pretty good weekend, didn't we? We had a great weekend.
We can start with that.
I shouldn't have drank water. I'm starting to cough. I don't know why I drank water like 2 seconds in the podcast.
Yeah, you have to. Sometimes
But
you got to.
yeah, but so we had a pretty good weekend.
We did. Let's start with that. Like one of our buddies, Jared. We've talked about him before on the podcast. It was his birthday last Friday. We had a party at my house, and a friend of ours from high school.
And by the way, Neima's house is like the party house for our group. Like if we're having a party, it's like, oh yeah, we're going to Neima's house. We're going to Arya's house.
It's just the place. It's like this is where we go. So we have a buddy. We have a group from high school that we all are friends, and you were just saying this. As time goes on, right? It's hard to keep in touch with everybody because everybody has their own things, and people are doing different things, going through different things. So really kind of getting everybody together was nice. So we have a buddy, Clark, and we haven't seen him in years. And
I haven't seen him since I think I saw him probably freshman year or sophomore year of college.
Yeah, so
2018, maybe 2018, I'd say.
Yeah, last time I saw him was sophomore year of college. No. Last time I saw him was junior year of college.
So 2019.
Yeah, towards
then.
The end.
Jesus Christ.
It's a long time ago if you think about it.
3 years.
So we were able to get him. My brother went and called Clark, and we haven't seen. He lives in Austin now, and he reached out to him and he said, "Hey, we're gonna have this party for Jared. Do you want to come by?" And he was able to take some days off. So I call Ian, and because Ian's usually very on time and everybody else is not.
I'm always guys. Party started at 2:30. My ass was there I think it was like 2:32. I was late because of stupid traffic, but my ass was there on time.
Yeah, you got.
Where everyone else takes 30 years to get there, I'm always on time.
So we got our friend Clark to come. The party was Saturday afternoon, right? And Clark comes in at noon, but nobody knows Clark is coming. So we have Clark there. He gets there with his girlfriend around noon, 12:30 or something like that. Yeah. In the morning, I'm running around all day. I'm making sure outside's clean.
Did you know, or was it just Arya that knew?
No, I knew.
Okay.
He called me, or not. He didn't call me, but Arya. He was walking the dog one day, and he was like, "Oh, guess who I'm talking to?" And I literally was like, "I don't know." It's like Clark. I was like, "What the hell?" Like, I haven't heard that name in a while. So we got him to come. And we have the video of this.
Oh my god, it's such a good video.
But so Ian comes in and
I'm pogging, by the way. When I see, I'm like, oh, like I'm ready for a party. And I see Clark, I'm like, oh shit,
yeah,
he's here.
So then we have a few people there at first, and I have Jared's location. We share our location, so I know where he is, and Arya has his location. We all have each other's location. Ian, I don't know about Ian.
No,
I don't want to know where Ian goes.
Turn that shit off. I don't want everyone knows where I am, right? I'm either at a friend's house, at a Rockets game, or at a Houston sporting event, or maybe at a club, or here.
Oh, at a club.
Hey. It's Houston, bro. It's Houston.
So we did this thing where I was like, okay, guys, Jared's about to pull up. And we need to, surprise him. So long story short, he came in and we got him to face one direction. And Clark comes in behind him and is like, "Hey, buddy." And it was like, oh my gosh. Everybody was flipping out. It was a great time. Then we proceeded to have a great time by the pool. Houston is very hot, as everybody knows.
Oh my god.
So the pool was nice.
I'm still sunburnt, by the way.
I know. Ian got a little sunburn out there. He was red the first hour. Oh my god. But no, we had a great time. It was good seeing friends, and we were just kind of talking about this before we got on the podcast. It is, and I was just talking about this too. It's hard to keep up with everybody around this age because we're all around 24, 23 to 25, really.
Right,
and kind of once you have more responsibilities, everybody's getting a job. People are moving.
Yeah, moving. Yeah.
It's hard to keep in touch, right? It's hard to keep in touch, and so I try to send a text to people that I know I'm close to and just see how they are, and every once in a while, right? As long as they check in and say, "Hey, I'm good," all right, then we're good, right?
Right.
I don't need to know, right? Why are you not talking to me every 5 seconds? No, I understand how life goes. So
Yeah.
it was nice to get Clark there, and it was nice to have everybody together. And there were some people missing, but really, there was a great group. There was a great group of us out there.
I think of our group. Was it 8 of? How many people do we have in that group chat? It's 14, right?
It was like 14.
14. I think we had eight out of 14, which is pretty good.
Yeah, 8 out of 14.
We haven't had. I don't think we've ever had that many in a room for at least since we started college.
Yeah, no, it was a long time since we've had a really good party like that. Well, we had Halloween, and there was a decent amount of
Halloween
us.
was good. There was a good amount there. I would say it was probably like 6 of us. I'd say out of the 14.
On Halloween.
Yeah, I'd say 6, maybe 7. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, it was around the same. But this one was really fun. We just all were having a great time. There was so much food. The night was we were out there from like 2:30 to midnight 1, and the funniest part to me is, we go through the whole night, and we go upstairs. Right, you go shower, and then I'm getting everybody else to come in, and we go upstairs, and I'm tired. Right, we've been out there having some drinks, having a good time.
More than drinks.
And I'm kind of yeah, Ian was. So I'm on the couch, right? I'm like on the couch sleeping, and they're rewatching Stranger Things. It was like the first episode. I was watching it, and there was maybe 8 of us in that room. Some people left, and the people that stayed, we ended up watching in my TV room some Stranger Things. I fell asleep for 30 minutes, and when I get up, I see everybody's still awake. It's 2:30 at this point, and everybody's like this, like watching Stranger Things, like boom. I look to my left, like everybody's like sitting right here. I look to my right, Ian's like right here, and I'm like, oh my god, like people are on the ground, they're not asleep, they're just like right here staring at the TV, and I'm like, all right, so I go to my bed, but it was crazy. It's kind of a good way to segue into Stranger Things, but it was funny because everybody was still awake, but we had a long day, dude. That was a great time.
It was basically we were out there from like at least me 2:30 to like 11 or something.
Oh, like that was the main group that really stayed there.
I was away for probably like 40
dude, I had to
minutes.
go in after a while. It's too hot outside. Like, it's way too hot. I was in the pool for a while, and I'm trying to be a good host, so I'm getting all the food and all the stuff. And my brother was a big help too, but I was at one point. I'm like, I'm dead.
You had the bandana on, but I was like, Neima is about to die on the spot right now.
I needed it, dude. It was like soaking up the sweat, but it was a great time.
Yeah, I had a great time as always at your house.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I do recommend to our viewers though, if you're already over 21 or not 21, I recommend not drinking 2 bottles of rosé in like probably about 25 minutes. I'd say doesn't really work out for your stomach. To be honest,
Ian was in the ether after the first hour.
Dude, I don't know why I did that. I think I was just like ready for a party, and then I got really excited because Clark was there.
When you down that first one, I was like, it's over.
And then you're like, yeah, I need you to distract Jared, so he doesn't see Clark. So I was doing some shit in the pool. I don't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah, you were trying to distract, but yeah, Ian went hard. Like, he punched the gas 0 to 60 that first hour. He was ready to go, but he rallied pretty hard. I will say, he rallied.
All right, guys, we're back. Sorry, we had a bit of technical difficulties with the camera, as we've had a lot of technical difficulties with the camera, but it turned off for some reason, and thankfully has a little sound when it turned off. So I think there's like some sleep timer on it.
Imagine if we just did the whole podcast. We're like, all right, guys, we did it, and it's like, oh, it's been off the whole time.
It's been off the whole time.
No, but we were talking about texting our friends, and right, it just comes down to really just checking in, being there, and because like I said, everybody's busy, man. Like when you're streaming all day and you got other things you need to do, and my brother's working at the hospital and things like that, and I have to do my research and stuff. So it's hard, right? And distance plays a factor, of course. Distance is a really big factor, right? Because when we're in town, right, it's so easy to just say, okay, Ian, I'll be there in 10 to 15 minutes, and I just pull up to your crib. Jared, all them, they live 5 to 10 minutes away from you, so it's easy to do that. But, right, friends that we have out of town, it's not necessarily too easy to just check in all the time. So, right, like I have some friends that are in New York or Cali, and I always text every couple weeks, hey, how's everything going? You doing good? All this stuff, and it's
right.
like, yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's what I have to say. My 2 cents on keeping up with our friend group like that.
Yeah, and I think I just need to do a better job of that. Like, it doesn't have to be everyone, obviously, but like
Oh yeah.
one of my old friends, Brian, we were joined at the hip for the first like 13, 14 years of my life, and we just kind of grew apart. If I saw him, I'd be like, "What's up, my boy?" I haven't seen him forever, but it's just like we just haven't really been in contact. But yeah, it's just kind of stuff like that where distance does play a factor, but we also have these things as well,
true, yeah.
which is so at worst case it can just be like once every week or two or whatever. But like 'cause my mom was telling me about this, so I was telling her about like, oh, we haven't seen Clark in God knows how long. She's like, oh, it's funny because like you can still probably like if you want to be with friends with someone, you can still do it over the internet kind of thing. But like back then there's well, you change houses and then what's the number? That's it, right?
Yeah.
That's it. So like it's a bit different now, but I think it's just putting in more of a concerted effort, I guess.
It is, and when you have good friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like with Clark, I didn't, maybe we texted once out of like the past 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Since I saw him, but when I saw him, it was like the time didn't pass. I mean, we're still making the same jokes. I don't have to say, how's everything going, this and that. It's just kind of like where we left it off. And that's the nice part about the friends we have. And I'm just glad that we have that luxury to be able to have friends to where time doesn't even move sometimes.
Yeah, that's
when
true.
we don't see them after a while.
Yeah.
So,
but it was great to see him, and I, as I said, had a really good time. Your brother made some incredible burgers, by the way.
Yeah, he was.
I had 3 of, by the way.
Yeah, McKillop needed them.
Yeah, 3 hamburgers, like 4 slices of these little pizza.
Oh,
what are those pizzas? Who makes those pizzas?
Oh my god, dude, I don't know, but when I was inside and he would keep coming inside, and I'm like, he literally would like towards the end of the night. There's one pizza he puts in the oven, it goes out, and then I'm inside. I'm with Ian, and another one comes in, or he comes in and he's like, all right, I'm going to do another one. I'm like, are you serious? Okay, so he does 2. Boom, sends it out. Comes in, there's a third. He makes a third pizza. I'm like, dude, that's enough, man. Like, that's enough. That's enough. And then he comes in as a joke. He's like, all right, one more. And I'm like, all right, no. I literally like,
We're
no.
done. They're
We're
cut off.
done, dude. They're cut off, dude. We had pizzas from before, 3 pizzas he made. And I think we had 10 pounds of literally like hamburger meat. Like we had 10 pounds worth of meat. So straight up we made, I don't know how many burgers, like 15 to 20. So like, they're still hungry. I'm like, man, hell no.
No. I mean, to be fair, that also was super hot.
It was.
So that might have played a factor.
It was.
Because, man, I was so...
I told you, I couldn't go. I could not get out there. I literally changed. Like whenever I changed into my comfortable clothes, everybody's still in their swimsuits and stuff. Like, and this was maybe like 9 or 10 at this point.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to go in anymore, man. Like, I've had enough of the outside. So I was just chilling, having a good time. But no, it was a great day. We really did have a great time, and it was good seeing everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of Stranger Things, as you said earlier, so I think. So we're going to talk about Stranger Things now. So spoilers if you not watched if you haven't watched season 4 or any of the show, really, this is
your cutting off point.
There are 2 more episodes to go in the show. They're coming out July 1st.
Yes.
I think I'm actually the best person of all time when it comes to watching shows when they end, because I've done that now with like 3 or 4 separate shows.
What do you mean?
Like, like how Stranger Things it's about to end. It's about to end, right?
Yeah.
This last season. I just started watching it like a week ago.
I know that's like, and then really messed up of you doing that.
Game of Thrones.
I haven't seen Game of Thrones. Oh yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah, we did. But like, even if you haven't watched it, I watched the first 7 seasons a week before this 8th season came out.
Yeah.
So I basically had no wait time for like 2 of the biggest shows in the past decade and a half, and honestly it was amazing because Stranger Things was was so awesome. You know,
it is so awesome, dude.
I don't want to. If we talk about the whole show, we'd be here for hours, honestly.
Yeah,
But like, I mean, we can really just focus in on season 4.
Yeah, season 4. Because the first 3, I saw them when they were coming out because it was so good, and it was just at the time. It was like the first one was like 2017 or 2018, and when I first saw it, I was still in college, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, this show is crazy. Like, these guys are doing it. Second season comes out, it's really good. Third season comes out, it's really good. So now we're on the 4th season, and I start watching with my brother, right? And I watched it maybe a week ago. I had some people say, have you seen it? Have you seen it? I'm like, no, I haven't seen it yet. And they're like, you got to watch it. So I'm like, all right, I'll go to it. I literally could not stop watching that season.
So good.
I could not. Just off the first rip, when they, right as you get back into it, you're like, I cannot. Because I watched up to episode 4, and then Arya already had seen his episode 5. It was funny because he was watching something, and I was in my room, and I came out, and I was like, dude, Stranger Things is really good. He was like, dude, I was watching it last night. We should watch it together. And I was like, oh, shit. So he was on episode 5, and I was on like 3 or something, and he was like, hey, like, get to episode 5. We'll watch the rest later. When I got to episode 5, I was like itching to hit next episode.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait because it was like, so actually, let's go through, episode. We could go by the episodes and really just talk about like the episodes with the most action.
I'm gonna be honest. A lot of them blur together for me since I watched them literally back.
Yeah,
But the problem is I've watched like there's like probably 30, 35, 36 episodes overall.
That first episode, right? The synopsis is we really are now seeing them
in high school.
In high school, right? We have 11, Will, and Jonathan. And they're somewhere else. It starts with the L.
I think they're California.
They're in Cali.
Lenora,
right? Yes. So, and then those 3, and then obviously Will and Jonathan's mom is there, Winona Ryder.
Right.
And then we have the guy still at Hawkins, the whole crew, Mike, and then...
I said Will, Mike, yeah.
Yeah, Mike.
Mike, Dustin, Lucas, Steve, Nancy, the whole crew.
The whole crew. So you kind of see both sides. These guys have gotten out of a shitty ass Hawkins that is literally so like. Honestly, if there was a place like that, I would have been gone a long time ago.
I know.
Like that place is messed up.
Well, to be fair, would you have known that there was like until like maybe a couple years ago in their timeline that like the place was super fucked up?
No, because
it's like Riverdale basically. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I have not watched that show in so long, but it was kind of the same. There was it's a nice town now. It's like there are people just getting murdered and shit.
Dude.
It's like it just kind of happens.
And those kids are the only ones that know what's happening.
Isn't that like that? I think that's so funny to me. It's like the government,
even
Russia,
their parents.
and dude, the parents in the show.
I have no clue
I'm sorry.
what's happening,
The
dude.
Wheeler parents are fucking useless.
They're useless.
Like,
they are so useless.
The mom is just trying to get some. Entire and then the dad is just
hates all the kids.
He hates I think he hates everything, honestly.
Yeah, he does. He hates all the kids. It is like, oh my god, dude, what do you like? So right, they're talking, and then they show some conflict. Right in the beginning, they show some conflict. We already see, the kids at Hawkins, like Mike and Dustin, they are obviously struggling to fit in, and I mean they're little nerdy kids. They play the games like we know. We've seen them for like 3 seasons before that.
They play They play games in the 80s.
Yes.
I mean,
so and they were in their basement. Like the first season is kind of big, like right they're in the basement playing the games all with each other, and right we introduce new characters. We got Eddie. Then we got that stupid girl that was bullying 11. I'm watching this thing like, oh my god,
Angela.
Like, oh god, she was oh my gosh. Like I mean, if I got a call and it was like, yeah, this kid's bullying your kid, like hold me back, hold me back, chief, because it's not gonna end well. So we get these 2 characters, and obviously they show the high school life. They're getting bullied. Lucas is trying to play basketball so he could be cool, and he's trying to put them on the map. And those guys, so we're seeing spring break's about to happen, right?
Right.
Spring break's about to happen. They're excited to see each other, and right as that's happening, we obviously know something's gonna go down. We just know it, right? We just know it.
That's why there's a show in the first place.
That's
right?
why there's a show. So I was really curious because I was like, okay, how are they going to? Yeah, wow! I just slapped that mic. How are they gonna portray, the conflict, the antagonist in this show,
Yeah.
right? In this season, because we
Right.
kind of had the Mind Flayer or whatever, and then we had everybody else, and it's so cool that those things are just like minions. The first 3 seasons, that's not even the main thing, right? Those are just like just things that
Parts of the Upside Down, basically.
parts of the Upside Down that Vecna is sending,
Yeah.
right? So then we get introduced to Vecna. We see Chrissy is having these shitty visions, and she's trying to get drugs to pretty much like calm her brain because she's having these like lucid dreams of just like of Vecna. So now we introduce Vecna, and it's like, oh shit, okay, now we got a really big foe here.
Yeah, that Chrissy's death was pretty shocking. I didn't expect that because there's been some Billy's death was pretty rough.
Oh,
in
yeah,
season
when he
3. We just
died.
got stabbed by the that was the Mind Flayer, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Mind Flayer.
Yeah. So and then, I mean, Chrissy just got her
Oh no, she
bones
just got like
detached,
destroyed.
jaw cracked, eyes hit.
Yeah,
and
she was annihilated.
yeah, and like obviously it's Vecna, and I'm just like, well, shit.
Yeah, you're like, oh god. Imagine you're Eddie in that situation.
Yeah,
Good-looking girl's coming over. You're like, oh man, I got a shot. You're like, she's at my place. Like, let's go. And then
great success.
you come back and she's just like like literally spazzing out right there. And Eddie's like, oh shit. And then she then it gets like absolutely trash compacted. And Eddie's just like, shit, fuck that, I'm getting out of here. He gets out of there, and then right now we're like, okay, this is the villain. So I really liked Vecna, to be honest, because his power was low-key kind of OP. Like, he was going through the dreams. Like, because everything that they even said it, right? Every time they had an issue, it was like something from the Upside Down was finding a way
right.
to their world, right? So they couldn't pick it up or piece it together immediately because it was like, well,
because that's what I'm sorry. Because
No,
that's
no,
what I
go,
was
go.
confused. That was like they closed the gateway.
they closed the gateway.
Because then I had questions. It was like because obviously Jim Hopper is in the Russian prison, and it was revealed later that they have a Demogorgon in there as well.
Yep.
I'm like, how is the Demogorgon alive? For one, because
I think it must be another Demogorgon.
that's what. Well, that's the thing. To the Demogorgons, like, can they? Because remember the dogs died. The Demodogs died when the was it when the gateway was closed? So I'm assuming it's the same thing for a Demogorgon, right?
Yeah, it must be, but I think the Russians, they were trying to keep that thing open, right? I think that's how Hopper got in to that side. Like, he jumped in, and they had a gateway already to that area, so that's why when he jumped in, they were like, oh, okay, the American's here, right?
Right.
So he went through the pathway in the Upside Down to where they had it open. So
Got it.
I think that's how it worked for that. But you're right. They close it, and I liked what they did because, like, it's not intuitive at first. The kids don't understand. Say, okay, they're not thinking too much about this. Something must have gone down. But right, they're like veterans. I love how they're like, well, we've done this a few times. I mean, Eddie's like flipping. I was like, and it's like, oh, we've done it like 3 or 4 times. Like, yeah, dude, these kids literally have gone through this shit already. So don't worry. If anybody's gonna help you, these kids are the only ones, to be honest. So, right, Vecna is able to, instead of having to connect through a gateway to get through to our world to get to a person, he can enter through the mind.
Yep.
But he enters through the mind by, right, he exploits like the insecurities and kind of like the weakness of those people that have a bunch of guilt.
Like something that bad happened in the
Yes,
past.
something like very traumatic,
Yeah.
and it's caused a lot of trauma and guilt for them, and he's able to exploit that.
What was Chrissy's? I actually can't remember now. What was
Chrissy's was
I can't remember.
no, Was it in a season before? No, because Chrissy was new.
No, she was. Was it something with her dad or mom or something?
Yes, somebody died. Like somebody died.
Because I know from the paper kid was the car crash.
Yeah, he was.
Right.
Well, he caused a car crash
He
and he
caused a
killed
car
some
crash.
people, and then
Max was
hit her brother because like they didn't have a good relationship, and then he
Right.
died. So, but I really liked the coolest scene to me in that, and one of the coolest scenes in this new season is running up that hill is blasting, right? Vecna's like, all right, Max, this is it. I'm about to pull you in. And she somehow gets to his mind. I don't know how she got there. Because she was running, right? And then she sees the red cloud, the red smoke, and
Right.
she goes in, and he's even like, what are you doing in here? Like, you shouldn't be in here. And right as he's about to take her, they're like Dustin and Co. because they go in, the girls go in, and they go to that mental asylum, and they somehow trick the guy. But honestly, this is the 80s, so like, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
So they go in and they get that information, and they're like,
from Victor Krell. Who I actually think was a. You usually a lot of shows or movies will have like the one guy who comes in and explains everything. That was one of the rare times where that actually worked for me. Because you know what I mean, where it's like
Yeah.
the one guy that's basically like the tell all for the plot, basically. Like, oh, if you want to destroy this magical device, get this thing and grab it here, and then they don't show it for the rest of the movie or the show. But I thought Victor was great because as you watch the show, his connection with Vecna is obviously as strong as it can be. Really,
he's his father,
right? Exactly.
Like he's his father, and like I did like that too because he gave his side of the story, and his side of the story is like that house was just haunted. It was just a demon lived there. Like it was completely screwed up, and right, you see his side of you, and he didn't even know what saved him. Right, he didn't know what saved him. He just started humming like that song, and then the girls put it together, and they're like, "Oh shit, the song saved him."
Yeah.
So they're like, "Hit the song! Can you play her song?" And Justin's like, "Oh, what's her favorite song?" And they're like flipping out, and then she's like going up, and when she's running to that song, dude, and Vecna's just throwing all this shit at her, dude, and she makes it. I was like, okay, Max, you're goated, dude. You're goated. Like Loki, she went off on that one, but I did like that because you're right. Usually they have those kind of Victor Krell kind of characters, and then it's like, oh, the key is to defeat by attack. And it's like, nah, like, but he didn't even know. And then when they explain, you get the explanation, and you're like, oh my god, that sucks. And the funniest thing to me is the mother knew. Like that, the mother knew.
So let's just go through Vecna's entire story because to me he's like. It's like a Thanos thing now. It's like you were the star of this and you were amazing.
Yeah, he was perfect. So let's do a quick synopsis, right, about how we get to Vecna, right? So obviously, the kids find a way. Like, they're going through clues. They're finding ways. They do in other seasons. They're finding stepping stones to get where they are. Okay, They don't know what Vecna is at first. Then they find, okay, the music helps because the frequency hits a certain part of the brain to be able to help you get out, and that's how Victor Krell survived, and he doesn't even know it. And then you get to the point where the one thing I will say I really like about Stranger Things is there's a lot of characters, right?
Yeah,
we have like 10 people, 12 people. But they separate them, and they put them in different platoons. So Nancy, Steve, Dustin, and then what was the other chick's name?
Nancy.
Rose?
Rose? I can't remember now. Wait, which one in particular are you thinking about?
The lesbian chick.
Oh, yeah. Is it Rose?
I'm pretty sure it's Rose,
I'm pretty sure it's Rose, yeah. But, like...
I just like how they all have their own missions, right? Like, let's see, why is it not?
I can't remember if it's Rose or not, but now I'm interested. It's like either Rose or Violet. I don't know why I'm thinking Violet.
No, it's not Violet. It's
I think it might be Rose. Shit. See now I can't remember.
Oh, it's Robin.
Robin.
It's Robin. I knew it. Okay, so they have them, and they're doing their own thing, right? They're doing their own thing. They have a mission they have to get to. Mike, Will, and Jonathan, and like, I guess that guy's not even worth it. The pizza dude, like Argala or whatever.
Argyle.
Argyle. So fine, they're doing their own mission. Then Winona Ryder and the other guy, they're doing their own mission, right? You have 3 different places. Then you got Hopper in Russia. They're trying to help him. So like, what I'm trying to get at is they do these side missions that are so pivotal to the story, because if you put them all together and they're all doing it together, it's just boring, right?
Right.
We're seeing different views. It goes cutscene, okay, boom, we get to this thing, and okay, we get back to what's going on in Russia. Boom, now we're seeing what Nancy, Steve, and co are doing in Hawkins, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. So right, they get to the house, they figure out, Vecna. Okay, they figure out the house is Vecna, right? From the vision that they had from Max, right? Because she was trying to draw the door, or she saw a bunch of the house pieces everywhere.
Right.
So they go to the house, then they're figuring out like, oh my god, the light beam, right? They're like, okay. So then we keep going on to the point where now we're seeing who Vecna is.
Oh my god, dude.
And when you see the flashbacks of 11, and you see Vecna. At first, I saw him, and I was like, that guy's interesting, right? I didn't think too much of him, right? But then once he was, like, helping 11, I was like, I bet you this guy's, like, number 1.
I didn't, it's funny, because I didn't expect that, like, because it was always thought that initially, and, that it was 11 who killed all those kids in the Hawkins lab, and I'm like... So I thought that her part of the story was to really open her up to that and get her powers back. I genuinely thought that too. And then the more you get, the more it happens, I still didn't understand. I still didn't understand why why one, or Vecna, I guess, was helping out 11. I was just confused because I was just like, what is this guy getting from this relationship?
Yeah, exactly, right.
So I thought it was just like he just wants to. Like a own personal, lifetime bodyguard or something, I guess. But it wasn't that at all. It was really that like he sensed that she was like the most powerful out of all the new kids, and maybe he wanted just to leave with her for some other reason. Maybe we'll find out why in the next part.
Well, because he said it right. He was like, "Come with me." Like at the end, remember he was like,
right, but like the why though.
Well, because
maybe
think,
I'm nitpicking here.
No, I don't think you're nitpicking. I think, well, from what I got from it, right? So to do another quick synopsis, right? Vecna is pretty much like he's one of the guys that is working in the lab, and you don't think anything of him because he doesn't do anything, right? He just kind of is like, hey, you see him around talking to the kids and things like that. Then you kind of see, I kind of like the flashbacks because you see the rest of the kids, and you see, how they have it, how they're running this ship, how the lab is going then, and you see every perspective. And then once Vecna, because I thought at first, right, they had me in the first half. I genuinely thought, I was like, okay, like 11 killed all the kids, but like, what happened? Like, did she just like go crazy, or could she not control her power?
Yeah.
So we get there, and once like Vecna got to the point where he was helping her get out, and he was talking about that thing on the back of his neck, right? The tracker was like, oh, with this thing, like I can't get too far, like you should go without me. And she was like, no, like I'll get it out for you. When he brought that up, I was like, that's kind of odd, like, because he's just helping her get out. I generally, at first, I thought, I was like, okay, this guy's just really helping her. Like, he sees that she's getting bullied. They're like, the kid's trying to kill her. Like the number 2 and the other kids are trying to kill her.
Right.
So I thought he was just like, you know what, get out of this crazy place, because it was a pretty sick place.
Yeah.
And then once she got the chip out, and they run, I was like, oh no, he's number 1. He's 1. Because then he's like, then right as I thought that, he's like, wait here. And I'm like, oh shit, he's going to wreak havoc. And he slaughtered. Like when he was out there and he was like, vroom, and you're just like, oh no, like what have we done?
It was like unleashing like Darth Vader or something.
And my question is, what happened to where, what was the doctor's name? Brenner?
Dr. Brenner.
Brenner.
Yeah.
What happened to where Dr. Brenner was so afraid of one that he put that chip in his neck and said, you know what, like, I'll keep you around, but
Well, I think it was really because of his past with his family. Really, I mean, he killed his mom, killed his sister, basically made his dad into nothing, essentially.
yeah, and I like that. That's a good point because I like that part because you saw Victor's part. You saw his side of the story, right?
I'm gonna be honest. I love Victor's part of the story and all this.
It was good.
I know we kind of keep jumping around here, but
it's not.
I loved it because it was paid off so well at the end with the fact that one is Vecna and one was his son.
And he didn't even know.
And he didn't even know.
That's the best part. He just thinks some demon that was in the house.
Yeah, and it was like, and that's the thing. I always thought like the mom didn't really say anything, but she knew though, and so he's like, oh well, he was like, well, she's the first to go.
And that's why he just offed her at the table.
And in that kind of fashion as well.
In that fashion too, but I didn't catch it at first. I did think it was weird, but I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh, I knew at this time that. But when Victor told the story and the daughter died, mother died, daughter died, and the son went into a coma, I was like, why did he go into a coma?
You know, it's real because it seems weird. Like, why didn't he just get instantly popped and snapped?
Yeah, like
you know?
everybody else got literally offed, and he went into a coma. So I was like, okay, that's weird. I don't know. I didn't think too much of it, right? Because I didn't have enough information then.
Right.
But Victor's story, you're right. Victor's story was so good because you see like that side, you see the other side. Then we get one's view where he's like, I hated it. Like, I go to that house, and he was obviously a strange kid,
right?
And he started figuring out he had the powers. Okay, did he have the powers before he saw Brenner or after?
It was before, obviously.
Yeah, it was before.
It was before, but like I want to know how he got them in the first place.
I don't know. Maybe
like
they like insinuated that he had it, that he was just like born with it.
Yeah. So I mean, and if they go that route, that's fine. I don't really need some massive explanation on why someone got telekinesis powers and some.
But it's cool because
supernatural series,
I'm pretty sure that Brenner, like, right, if he was the one that, if one was the one that pretty much had the powers, then Brenner used the kid to give the other kids powers.
He like cloned his DNA or something.
Pretty much.
100%. No, to me, there's no doubt about that.
So I'm really interested to see, and this comes to the question parts. I'm really interested to see, number one, what scared Brenner so bad that he was like, okay, I gotta neutralize him.
Yeah, it might have just been like the whole homicidal thing, maybe.
It must have been, yeah, because once that happened, and then he went into that asylum, and then you see his side, right? His side story. I killed a mom. He's like, killed my sister, and then he's like, pretty much talking about how Victor's an idiot, and he was like, didn't even know, whatever, and he's like, I didn't know my powers then, so and that's why I went into the coma, because like I was exhausting all my energy.
Right.
And it's crazy to me how he does have that like Thanos vibe at the end, right? Because he's like, you know what, like he slaughters everybody, and Eleven's waiting, right? Eleven's just like hiding, and then she goes in, and there's just they had this horror style to the whole season, right? They had this horror film vibe where there was a few times where I was just like, all right, I'm not going to my room alone tonight. That's how creepy it was. And I was just like, no, it was good. And then she goes in, right, talking to Vecna, or one, and he just goes on his monologue. He's like, look, like, here's my story. As a kid, I wasn't a normal kid. I had these issues. He explains what happened with the family, and then you're like, oh my god. And then he talks about so that's why he's tied to the house. He talks about the clock. He talks about all those little tiny things that the Duffer brothers threw in there, and it's crazy to me how they have this idea 5 years ago, and it's like, okay, we're just gonna build up to this, and they get there, and you're like, oh,
that's the thing about it. It's like writing so much in advance. Like we've seen a bit. Like obviously, like every writer writes in advance. But like we've seen with George Lucas, he wrote super in advance. Like let's say James Cameron as well. We're just throwing out two people that we said on the pod.
Yeah.
And then like you see the opposite side where it's the Star Wars sequels, and just sees like how different. Well, it's just how different the stories are and how much incredible payoff there is with this show. Like, we're not even done with it yet, but I already feel like that this season has paid off all the other seasons like tenfold.
And that's the writing. You're right. You're 100% right.
It's incredible. It's incredible writing.
Because if you have the idea, you tie it together perfectly. They tied it together. It couldn't have been more perfect.
There's no plot holes as well.
There's no plot holes. It's perfect from the start. You see, then you're like, oh my god, like season 1, season 2, and season 3 are a tease. We weren't even getting the action. We just were like teased to the idea of what the Upside Down was, right?
Yeah.
So Vecna goes on his rant, and he's like, pretty much this world will know pain. Like, he's like, this world's gonna know pain, I swear. And he's like, join me, like 11, like join me, because he knows how powerful 11 is.
Yeah.
And bruh, when 11 and him 1v1, and he 1v1s his ass to the ether.
Like, literally to the
She
ether.
literally created the ether.
Well, that's the thing. Did she make...
She created it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, I don't know if she made that whole dimension between dimensions, but she obviously opened it up.
Well, she definitely opened it up. But the thing about it is that when one goes in there for the first time...
It's like volcanoes.
Well, that's
and
what
shit.
I'm saying, is that, like, the Upside Down that we know is, like, basically a mirror image.
And he created that.
So
Vecna created that part.
Okay.
He created that part. She was the one...
I think so. She's the one who opened it.
Yes.
And Vecna's the one who made the Upside Down.
Yes.
Like, oh, shit. Okay.
Yes.
God
because
damn.
he goes... I know, dude. So... She had, so it showed that she was the most powerful because none of them could have opened that ether, essentially. She was able to open the first gateway and sent them. And you know what's crazy? That gateway you see in that room is the gateway in the first few seasons.
Right, yep.
It's the same exact one. It's the only one way to get in. And before, obviously, the other things are going on. Because he was doing it through the water, like, he was doing it through, and we didn't even get into the other characters, but, right, when Steve got pulled in, he got pulled in through a gateway, they had, every time somebody essentially died, there was a gateway. It was opening, because he was trying to connect.
And that's also another thing I love about season 4, is that, like...
Here's what I found.
Oh.
Whoa. Siri's listening.
Siri's listening to us, anyways. Is that it was seemed like, as I said, like, it seemed random to kill teenagers, and then once you realize that why he killed them in the ways he did was because it was to open up portals.
Yeah.
Portals like ran out. I'm like, oh shit.
Like, he didn't care about the kids. It was like because he needed their energy essentially.
Yeah.
He needed them to open the portals, and so I liked how so he sent him to the ether essentially. And literally, and it's nothing, right? Because where it started kind of piecing together for me was when they went to the Upside Down. Nancy, Steve, Eddie, and Robin, right? They get thrown because Steve gets pulled in the water, and then they go follow him. They save him. They tease Steve dying there. I thought he was going to die.
Dude, I thought they were going to kill Steve. He's my favorite character of the series.
He is awesome, dude. Season 3, he was awesome.
He was awesome season 3. He's been awesome all the time, in my opinion. But, I mean, I was like, shit.
Hold on. When he was, like, Captain American, like, he was Captain American, like, the fucking bats... And he was like, ah! I'm like, slamming. I was like, dude, where did this strength come from? He got so mad. He has his shirt off, and he's like, literally just like swinging them by the tail, throwing them on the ground, like splatting them. Like, Steve Rogers, is that you? Oh my god! This is a different Steve that pulled up to the block. This is not the Steve we know and love.
Holy shit!
It was so funny, and then I think that one of the funniest scenes in that show. This is kind of random, but the funniest scenes is whenever he's like, "I gotta go in the water," and he like takes his shirt off, and like Nancy's like staring at him, and it's like, "Oh, like he has so much hair on his chest," like Dustin Lucas, and it's like.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, girls like that or whatever. He's like, really? And it's like, Max like, can I see those real quick? The binoculars. And she gets him and just starts staring. That was so funny. That was so funny to me. But no, dude, they did it perfectly. Like, they tied it together to the point where now we know how he got in there. But I guess what I was trying to get at was when they went down to the ether, right? They go save Steve and they all go in and they go to Nancy's house, right? It's like she goes in her diary. Wait, so she's trying to find the gun, right?
Right.
And she's like, wait, these are my shoes. I got rid of these a long time ago. Boom, she goes around. She goes to her diary, and it's like 1983 or something.
1983, yeah.
And it was the exact day Will was taken.
So, did they explain that, why it was stuck in time?
I don't think they did.
Well, they'll explain it in volume.
They'll explain it, yeah.
But, like, that's the one thing I was like, wait, so why is it now? Is it because maybe, like, first human contact? But you say that, but then one was in there initially, and he was technically human.
But I think he created it.
Well, he created it, right? But then how did it stop in time, though? Maybe
he has that power. I think he has that power.
So maybe he stopped it in time.
I think he pretty much like is able to slow the time because of his powers and stuff. So I think honestly it was like in his realm the first contact to like another human, like the human life and the other side.
Yeah.
When he got Will was when it cut off in time there.
Yeah.
But they'll explain that. I thought that was really interesting because I was like, okay, wait, there's still like this time period is like 4, 5, 6 years ago or whatever. So I'm like, how is this going to work? But I'm very excited for the next 2 seasons, or not next 2 seasons, the next 2 episodes in the volume 2, because they're going to piece everything together. It was beautifully written.
I have full confidence they will.
No, they will, dude. This is honestly one of the best shows I've ever seen. Netflix is already dying, and they had this in the bag, so I'll give it to them.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing. Netflix has kind of been struggling a bit recently.
Oh, they're dying. I bet Netflix the next 5 years will be gone. But
which really sucks because I think Arcane's really good. And
but dude, think about they're going to sell those rights. They're going to sell Stranger Things. They're going to sell Arcane.
They'll probably sell all that stuff. But
they have to make the money.
They have some bangers at Netflix.
They do.
I guess it sucks that they're losing money. But. I guess that's Disney Plus now. I wonder how many subs they lost when Disney Plus became a thing.
Dude,
they've
lost millions of subs.
They have, yeah.
They've lost millions, and it's like, but dude, how can you compete with Disney when you literally have ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus in $13.99 a month?
Yeah,
that's cheaper than Netflix.
Cheaper than Netflix. By $3 or $4?
Yes.
Right? Yeah, and it's 3 or 4 times the content as well.
That was a few of the things where it's now the streaming services are it's like the monopolies are the ones that have the big streaming services. Apple, then you got Disney, then you got Paramount, and the list goes on, right? And
so many like
big companies.
Insert company name plus on the end.
Exactly. And then you have Netflix, where it's just really like they're only a streaming service. They have nobody backing them. You have Amazon Prime. AWS has literally made the most money in Amazon. Like, when Jeff Bezos stepped down,
yeah.
Whenever you step down, it's whenever your group, so they have different divisions, right? Yeah. AWS is the streaming service, and then Jeff Bezos obviously has his like distribution where it's like, order stuff for Amazon. It was the first time that the division of AWS or another division beat Jeff Bezos' division, and they cremated it because they made so much money off streaming.
Yeah.
So then he had to step down, the other guy had to step up.
Oh shit. Well, and I think after Stranger Things is done, they'll probably lose a lot more subs as well.
No, they will, and I think they're gonna sell the rights. But back to Stranger Things, it was awesome. Like the show was so perfectly written, and like you were saying, man, when you have an idea of how you want the show to be written, it's way better.
Oh, yeah. It makes it so much more cohesive. Makes it easier to make as well, in my opinion.
Exactly, because when you get to like Star Wars 7, 8, 9, 8 was so shitty that like it was like quality control after that. 9 had to be changed. They brought Palpatine in. Like now you're just calling too many audibles.
Well, yeah, that's the thing about it was like now we'll probably talk about Star Wars for a bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was talking about. I'm sure everyone's said this a million times, but when you don't even have when you have a script, right, and it can be maybe not good, not great. Who knows? Like it's like George Lucas's prequels, right? Some of the dialogue in the script wasn't great, but you can still see that there was an overarching story, and then at the end of episode 3. That story paid off. Yeah, I mean, like, there's some shitty dialogue in episodes 1 and 2, for sure. There's no question about it. But that doesn't take away from the entirety of the story. But when you get to 7, 8, and 9, then you have...
it was like they were making it one at a time and just going with it.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't think of the first person who directed it. I complete brain fart right now. I know who he is. Whoever made 7, Ryan Johnson made 8. And the problem is that 7, 8, and 9 were already written, but then they allowed Ryan to rewrite 8. But at that point, if you're in the middle of a trilogy, that's a horrible idea.
Yeah, because it was just ass.
Yeah, because it's not even. It can be ass, but it doesn't even compare to 7.
Yeah.
They're not even the same story.
7 was not bad.
And 7 was fine, but like the problem with 8 is that if you allow someone to rewrite it, and it might not be even Ryan's fault, to be honest.
Like, it's 100% Ryan's fault.
I mean, like,
don't give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, it probably is, right? But the fact that he was even allowed to do that
is so
stupid. And then of course he's gonna make his own Star Wars movie, but the problem is that it doesn't connect at all to 7 at all. Like it doesn't.
And it just didn't connect to anything else. Like Luke became this bitter old man. He's like, the Jedi are dead, and you're like, what the hell, dude? Like, this is not Luke.
Hey guys, we're back. I'm really pissed off right now because after about 3 weeks of fucking around with this camera, it's still not working because, as you can see, the quality on the camera is very good, but as you can probably notice if you're watching through YouTube, the last, 30-ish minutes have been a blank thumbnail because there was no fucking picture recording because after 12 minutes, it decides to shut off multiple times, so it's the camera that's completely screwed up. And I am going to return this shit as fast as I humanly can.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully we can get this thing fixed by next week. It's just one of those things. We changed the SD card, and the SD card was the fix for the resolution because what we were doing before was we were essentially just sending it to the cloud, and it was compressing it as it was being sent. That's why the quality was so low and OBS was capping it. But now we're getting good quality, but there's no compression when the video is being done. So now we're getting in a situation where 4 gigs, right? After we compress our videos and we do our recordings, we can have an hour and 30 minutes be, at most 8 gigs.
Yeah.
So without it being compressed, we get 4 gigs for 12 minutes. Yeah. And we have the right format, the exFAT format for the SD card, but I think the camera is not allocating the memory well. So this is the issue that we're going to have to fix. But
the biggest vibe killer.
Yeah, because we were really getting into it. We wanted to talk about some other stuff, but at this point, I think we have enough audio and things like that to have a podcast for tomorrow.
We're going to talk about a bit of Star Wars stuff, but we can really just talk about that next week because I think Kenobi was kind of a short bridge episode this week, and then that's pretty much all we're going to talk about.
That's fine. And then, hopefully, guys, we can get it fixed. Sorry about that.
Oh my god, complete utter fucking disaster.
And
just as I said, complete vibe killer. But we did talk about Stranger Things a lot, which is really what I wanted to talk about a lot.
And I'm glad we did get to talk about that. If if you guys have anything you want to hear or any topics or anything, just let us know. But we're gonna proceed per usual for next week, and we're crossing our fingers and hoping that once we get the new camera, we're going to do some tests, but once we get the new camera, I just hope that we don't have this issue
It's been
anymore.
like a trial by fires. I did not think this would be this difficult, but it seems like everything's just been kind of screwing us with in-person stuff, and it's just I'm trying to.
Yeah, Ian he's going to blow off some steam here.
Yeah, I'm about to go blow off some steam, but that's all I have for this week, just purely because of the camera.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you're on Spotify or anything, this does not concern you at all, really. But
really.
If you're on YouTube, it does concern you, unfortunately. But I will see you guys next week. I'll see you guys on the streams. Neima, we'll see you next week as well, brother.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, thanks so much, guys, for watching or listening. I'll see you guys later. Have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Peace, guys.